Hi, my name is Kylie Carr, and I'm going to be presenting my Kellogg Honors Capstone project today, which I chose to do on the biomechanical factors associated with low back pain in construction workers.
As you can imagine, the construction industry is very dangerous and has a lot of risk factors and hazards that can easily lead to injury. Among those injuries, it is well documented that construction workers report low back pain or LBP more than any other injury. However, studies of underlying biomechanical factors that contribute to LBP in construction workers are still limited. So, the purpose of this review is to 1. Summarize the current knowledge of biomechanical factors that are responsible for LBP in construction, and 2. Find that knowledge gap in studying LBP in construction workers to help future studies. This brings me to my methods. Like a lot of you, I originally had plans to work in person to test muscle properties and joint pain. However, due to COVID and not being allowed to work in person, I had to change to a literature review. Now, I started with the search engine Google Scholar and searched injuries in construction, which gave me thousands of articles. Now, in order to narrow it down, it had to meet certain criteria. It had to be peer-reviewed, dated after 2000, and I needed to be given access to the full text through the CPP database. To narrow it down even further, I specified that it was in construction by looking at subjects such as scaffolding and floor work. I also looked at biomechanical factors such as ground reaction force and trunk flexion, as well as how to prevent low back pain. This narrowed it down to where I was able to review a total of 32 articles, and here's what I found. As you can see in Figure 1, improper posture was the most reoccurring origin of LBP in construction at 52%. This is mainly due to how often they spend working in trunk flexion with static posture, elevated arms, or even lifting from those compromised positions. We are able to measure this position with the technology shown in Figure 2. Now, I chose to include this image because it gives a great visual of what trunk flexion is by using a 3D and 2D model of a construction worker doing floor work, such as bricklaying. As you can see, this position is putting a lot of compressive force on the lumbar region, which can cause the surrounding muscles to overwork, which again leads to LBP. In Figure 3, the x-axis compares road workers to floor workers, and the y-axis is looking at the percentage of low back complaints. This proves that no matter where you're working, manual labor will have a higher percentage of LB complaints compared to when using a machine. When a machine is introduced, it either elevates the worker or their work off of the ground to eliminate the amount of time spent in trunk flexion, which is why the percentage of complaints is lower for machinery. Now in Figure 4, it gives a general lifting motion for construction workers doing manual work, and you can see how much lower back strength would be required in order to do this motion every single day for hours. If companies take the precautionary steps to train their workers to lift, take 20-minute breaks, or even teach them to increase their pelvic forward tilt, which moves the L4 and L5 joint forward, it will decrease the amount of compressive force placed on the lower back, and again, decreasing their low back pain. In conclusion, hopefully this poster has given enough evidence to show why improper posture is the most reoccurring origin of LBP, and 2, how with proper training, construction workers can decrease the amount of lifting injuries that eventually lead to LBP. It is easy to dismiss the severity of these injuries, claiming that it's just part of the job. However, I suggest that future studies dive deeper into this topic and help construction workers with their pain. Now, if future studies identify involved muscle properties and biomechanical factors that generate LBP, it will provide enough evidence to prevent LBP and related injuries in construction workers. Thank you so much for listening, and I again would like to thank Dr. Kwan for all of his help and guidance throughout this entire project. Thank you.